Thank you for joining us for another episode of Curious Careers. I'm David Huff, the Corporate Relationship Manager here at Cass Business School. I'm delighted to have Fergus Miskelly here today. He's an executive alumni at Cass Business School, Executive MBA alumni. He's ex-JP Morgan, ex-Barclays, ex-Accenture, and currently at Google. What an amazing CV. And we're going to have a little rundown of his career today. Thanks for joining us today, Fergus. How are you?
Thanks very much, David. Very well, thanks. Thanks for carving time to speak.
Oh, no worries. Appreciate you being here. We'll jump right into it. For those that don't know, an Executive MBA is a 2-year MBA and it's done while working. So you're working and studying. It's a massive undertaking. Fergus, what went through your mind? Why did you do an Executive MBA at Cass?
So I think I had reached the point in life and career where I was looking for a little bit of stretch. I was looking potentially to do something different or more specialized in my career. And I really thought that, MBA was the next natural step to help me do that. But I did want to retain my day job at the same time. So I decided to do the executive program.
Excellent. And what was your day job at that time? What were you doing in your
So
career?
I was working for JP Morgan in technology, and I was responsible for a part of the strategic new technology investment cycle. So we worked a lot with the early generation of fintechs and Silicon Valley tech innovations, and we integrated those into the organization and helped them grow.
Excellent. So really at the forefront of that technology change, which is really sweeping over all of us at the moment.
Yeah, it was a very exciting time, but at that point in time, JP Morgan was on a transformation journey, just as many large organizations are today. So that was really a core focus.
Excellent. And why Cass Business School? What made you think that's where I want to be?
So there were a couple of ingredients, right, that really resonated with me. One, the schedule was super flexible, and I thought long and hard about how to integrate, doing an MBA over an extended period of time into my life and how to fit my day job around that. The Cass schedule seemed to work really well, and I didn't mind sacrificing some time at weekends if it allowed me to keep that core block of time at work during the week. And I think additionally, though, and more importantly, just the cultural fit felt a little bit more in tune with personally what suited me. It felt like the right place, and that was really what swung the decision for me.
Excellent. That cultural fit is massively important, whether it's choosing a university, whether it's choosing a job. It needs to be a nice fit culturally, otherwise it could end in disaster. So I'm glad that the Cass culture really fitted with your outlook as well. During your MBA, during your executive MBA, regardless of what program you do at Cass Business School, you have access to a career and development and professional development team who run a number of workshops. So from the bread and butter stuff of interview prep to CV prep, all the way into different workshops which are specific to your program at Cass Business School. So media training, time management. For you, Fergus, was there any particular workshop or anything in regards to careers that really kind of resonate with you and helped you in your future career?
So it was a really busy couple of years. There was loads of curriculum, and in addition to that, the core content. There were these kind of splash sessions that we would do perhaps at a weekend. On a Saturday morning, we'd go and you mentioned media training as one. Consulting skills was another splash session that I found really useful. It was a great toolkit. The media training activity had a profound impact. I find myself dropped into this weekend session to understand how to construct a story, how to use down the line technology, and the session was organized by some ex-BBC veterans, so really experienced media professionals. It wasn't a relaxing weekend, but I benefit from the skills I gained that weekend, and I use those skills routinely in my day-to-day life now.
Wow, that's amazing impact. And I like that it wasn't, it's going to sound terrible, but I like the fact that it wasn't a relaxing weekend, because that really goes back to what you were saying. You wanted to stretch yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's what this
Absolutely.
was.
Yeah.
Excellent. So many people say, many of the people that we've taught at CAS say that getting an advanced degree, whether it's a master's, an MBA, an executive MBA, is a game changer for them, positively affects them in the future. How did the executive MBA affect you? What was the impact for you?
I think the CASI MBA really gave me the courage to go off and take a more active part in my career direction. And there were some surprises along the way. So actually, when I'd finished my degree, I wasn't expecting to actively want to leave the organization that I was working with, but that's what I ended up doing. Yeah. So I decided to go and seek, fairly foundational cultural change. I wanted to go and do different things. So I did a couple of things. One, I decided to leave JP Morgan a year or two after I finished up. I also started a small technology startup with a couple of friends that we operated for the next 4 or 5 years and had some great fun with. So yeah, it definitely took me in some different directions. And I think also I reflect on some of the experiences that I did during some of the MBA electives.
Yeah.
And I really got some value out of recognizing just how valuable some of the skills that we all have are. And in the context of our day-to-day lives, we don't necessarily get a context point on that. I'll give you an example, if you don't mind. So we spent some time on elective in Argentina, working with a small engineering firm in Buenos Aires, and we really helped to transform this small organization's P&L, their go-to-market strategy. And that really just resonated with me, that actually there's a greater contribution that you could have out there in the marketplace. And that really helped me make the decision to move on from the career platform that I had grown over many years, and to go off and do different things.
Wow, that's such a brave decision, because as you said, you've kind of built up that career platform over so many years, and now you're kind of making that big jump because you've got that MBA skill set, you've really stretched yourself, so you're making that big change. That's amazing. Like, that's real world impact that you're doing there.
Yeah, right. And I guess it was really a case of kind of learning to be comfortable with being a little bit uncomfortable, and it's okay to not know quite how the next step is going to pan out. But I've got some great skills and experience and some new things in my toolkit that I can go and explore with.
Perfect. I love that. Post MBA, you did your startup venture, and now you've progressed into being a leader in cloud computing. Tell us about that. How did that come about? How did you get involved with cloud computing? What kind of impact are you having in that area? Because obviously, I know your background a little bit, so you've had a massive impact in cloud computing. Tell us a little bit about it.
So look, I think I think the honest answer is I arrived in cloud computing as a subject matter expert almost by accident. But when I was working for JP Morgan, I always remember our CEO, Jamie Dimon, used to make this comment routinely at shareholder and investor meetings. And he used to say that JP Morgan was a technology company that provided financial services to its customers, right? And it is so true. So technology underpins everything we do in our personal lives and the large organizations or smaller organizations that we work with. So I think it's becoming such an intrinsic part of our life fabric that it was a kind of obvious focus area for me, and it was the focal point of one of the couple of cycles of startup that I was involved with, and obviously working for Google now, it's an ongoing focus.
Yeah, absolutely. You couldn't get more technology focused than Google. It really powers our lives to a certain extent. What tips and advice would you give someone who's looking to either work in technology or, yeah, who's looking to work in cloud technology or Google in the future?
So look, I think a couple of things, I guess. You know, if anyone that is looking to move into a more technology focused career, just start doing some background reading, do some research, develop a specialism or a point of view in something in that technology arena.
Yeah,
Might be to do with you know, AI and analytics, or it might be to do with blockchain, or so develop a specialism, I guess, and a talking point,
yeah,
and use that to build your story around, and you know, set yourself some goals as well about where you want to go to in your career.
excellent. And let's maybe dispel a myth here. If I'm getting into technology, do I need to know how to code?
I still get terrified when I see those black screens with all the green code,
Yeah.
matrix style whizzing past. So no, you absolutely don't.
Okay.
But the great thing is, actually, is technology has become so you know, such a utilitized part of our life now. It's actually
Yeah.
really easy to go and do some self-education.
Yeah.
So it's not quite as scary a topic as I think it used to be in days gone by.
Perfect. And I guess it's really all about stretching yourself. So if that's an area that people are interested in, there's tools out there for them to stretch themselves to move in that area.
100%, 100%.
Excellent. So final question. What are your top career tips for our class community?
So look, I think I touched on a couple of them. One, you know, kind of set yourself some personal goals. And I think anyone listening to this interview and thinking about potentially, you know, their future career doing an MBA will probably already be doing that. The other thing I'd say is be tenacious. Sometimes things don't always click into sequence quite as easily. And, you know, we've talked a little bit about my background and some of the experience that I've got. It hasn't all been plain sailing. It hasn't all been easy. So just be tenacious and kind of stick at it.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd say is be yourself, be human, but don't be afraid to develop an opinion and have something to say. And I guess those are probably my kind of big tips. And then just a really simple practical thing. If you don't already have one, create yourself a one-page biography on a Google slide or a document with your photograph and some interesting facts about you, your career experience, and who you are outside of work. I find that a great tool, and it helps me just to quickly build relationships with new people.
Excellent. I think that's an amazing insight there, because it really hits in what I was talking to a recruiter a few days ago, and they were saying it's that well-roundedness that really drives them towards people. Hard skills, fantastic, but let's hear about the person. Be human. We want to know about you. So
Absolutely.
that's fantastic advice. That wraps us up now for this episode of Curious Careers. Thanks a lot, Fergus, for joining us and for sharing your career story. I think it's amazing. I think you've done amazing things and more to come. For the CAS community, until we speak again, stay curious.
Thanks, David. Bye, everyone.